Hello everybody! Welcome! My name is Terry Okey and this is my new show, Songs and Stories, episode number 1, The Weight of Your Sin. It's going to be the first song on the first record. Now, this is supposed to be a live broadcast where you can comment and we can have a discussion and you can chime in. However, I am still, after 3 weeks, fighting my way through the YouTube rules and things in order to be a live broadcaster. I need more subscriptions and, I've been on YouTube forever and I've got dozens of videos, but they still say in order to broadcast from your phone, you have to, the phone being my best camera, you have to jump through all of these hoops. So I'm still jumping. So this show, this first week is going to have to be pre-taped, and this is it. But if you spread this around and we get more subscriptions, they're going to let us go wild and live and wild on the phone next week. So please sign up for a subscription and enjoy this first episode. Hello everybody, Terry Okey here. This is episode number 1 of Songs and Stories. This particular song that we're doing tonight is called The Weight of Your Sin. It's been a favorite of mine and a crowd favorite for a long time. People just seem to really relate to this song. And it's in an open tuning. So right away, not that tuning. Right away it's going to have a very unique sound, because we're going to drop open tuning is played by quite a few people. You've heard it, and it gives for a really fun and interesting quality of sound, because you're basically dropping certain strings in pitch until you get an open chord. In this case, it's an open G chord. And so we change that one, we change that one. We leave these 3 alone, and we change the top string down to D. And this is in one of my very first books that I was using. I use these large art books, the big 9x12 art books, to write, because you can erase on the art paper really easily. And there's a lot of erasing going on. I can't write on a computer or a tablet because to me it kills the whole process. It's very inorganic and it's distracting, and then it runs out of power and whatever and blah blah blah. So I write with pencils, and usually I'll try to be in a quiet space when I'm writing or filling out an idea. That seems to help a little bit with the flow of creativity. Let's get tuned up first. All right, here we go. Oh, I think some of you know this song already. The groove. You see how unique that tuning already, you can tell sounds. This is Jimmy Page used this tuning when he went. Oh no, pretty flowers, let your hair hang low. I used this tuning for The Hawk. If you saw my video, The Hawk, recently. Other people use this just for blues, and it's great for slide. The open tunings are great for slide because you can make a whole chord with the bar. And it makes, because it's an open tune. It's also great for beginners. If you, I should make a video about that. If you're a beginner on guitar and you're worried about trying to make bar chords having big strong fingers, you can use the open tuning just to and then anywhere you put your finger all the way across is a chord. It's very easy. So that's a good thing for beginners to do. In this case, the weight of your sin it's a rocker, a bluesy rocker. It's very Zeppelin-esque now that I think about it. Obviously, Zeppelin was a big influence. This particular song, I was playing in a band, and I think we were going to be rehearsing the other song, "Suits Me Fine." And we were waiting for the singer. We were in a rehearsal studio, the whole band standing around waiting for the singer to show up. And I believe I just hit it. Like it. Give it a little blues. It's actually sort of similar to Jimmy Page did a cover of an old American South blues song. What was the? Traveling Riverside Blues. In any case, a lot of people use it. This chord right here is usually the chord that you would use in the top of a turnaround. With the minor shape. In this case, I'm using it that shape and then going to the major, which is the C over G. And he goes, when the cold winds cross past, plum clouds of mass are mowing down in that river. Where the plum cloud, where the clouds are gratified. In any case, so that's what it sounds like on a regular acoustic guitar. Now I could record, I can do the recording. So the point of this show is that I'm going to introduce one song every week for 12 weeks. And that's going to be my first record. And so this is the first song on the first record. Next week we'll do song number 2. That sounds nice on an acoustic guitar. It sounds cool on an electric guitar. If you open tune an electric guitar, it sounds really rocky, and it sounds more like Black Crowes. Now normally when I play this song, I play it with a pick, so it's a little more aggressive. And I play it on the dobro. The dobro has this fantastic dish, metal dish, inside the guitar. And it makes a very unique sound, especially with the slide. It's very honky in the honky tonk. Yeah, so that's a great sound. That's usually, this is my number 1 slide guitar. It is a National, and the reason is because it's indestructible, this thing. And also it's got a really great sound. I plug it in, had a pickup installed. And I got it off of eBay, believe it or not. I put a bid on it thinking I'll never get it for that low, and I was very lucky. The person who played it had hurt their back and couldn't play the guitar anymore. I feel for you on that for sure. But now you could this particular dobro, most dobros have metal bodies and they're very bright. This particular dobro, one of the reasons I really liked it is because it has a wooden body, so it calms the tone down just a little bit. Now, if you look at this bad boy over here, that is, look, there's you right there. That is solid brass. That's a dobro by the Gibson Company from 1960. Hawaiian etching and all. And it's a metal body, and it weighs about 15 pounds. It's solid brass and chrome plated. You can see how much brighter it is. So most people play the blues with these kind of guitars, and rightfully so, because that's a great sound. I could, if you wanted to give it a historical bent, on the record, maybe I might play it on the old guitar. I plan on playing an acoustic track on one side and an electric track on the other side and doubling them so they sound really, really awesome. Now, yes, it looks like it's something that was dredged up from the bottom of the ocean. It is an old National guitar. This was the original. This was a California invention, the National guitars. I'll have to make another video about National guitars because they are awesome. But this particular one bounced around quite a few years before I got a hold of it, and it's really got the authentic. Now that I hear it, I think I like that one the best. So maybe on the record I'll put this one on one side and electric, like a telly, on the other side. Yeah, that's an awesome tone. So this particular song I wrote when I was waiting for a singer, and I kind of hammered out that riff. Later on, I must have had that for a year or two, and I was working it over, and I came upon I was kind of stuck on it because I knew there should be more, and it didn't turn around right, and so all of a sudden one day I came up with a kind of a 4-part. And then I didn't even know this chord at the time, but my hands knew where I wanted to go, and it added the turn around the end. So you've got the main section and the riff. And then it jumps into the chorus when it goes. In the river you can't forget where you've been. The water will bear the weight of your sin. You've been down once, you'll go back again. When you're feeling down, or you run aground, and wanna get you down to the water in the ground. Pause. Oh. So once I got the music actually going around the way it was supposed to go around, it was so exciting, because then you can start writing words to it. In this case, I was on a camping trip with a group of friends, and somebody this was before cell phones and maps, and somebody had seen a map to a faraway hiking place that was completely secluded, and it was this deep river gorge canyon covered with a million trees somewhere out near Big Bear. I'm going to have to try to find it again to film some footage for the video once I get the recording done. My very first writing book was a smaller art book. It was like an 8x10 blue book, and I wrote about 30 songs in there, a lot of them on the nylon string guitar I was playing at the time. But then when I realized I was actually going to write songs, and I had a lot, I was going to have to get a bigger book. So I got this book, and I believe this one is 75 pages. And of course it's full, and I've filled up 3 or 4 more since then. In this case, there's we're going to get to all these songs eventually. Let's see, there's 50 weeks in a year, so there's over 100 songs. So it's going to take about 2 years to get to them all. Oh, there's a lot of great songs in here that I would like to play you, but tonight we're concentrating on The Weight of Your Sin. Now here's Sunday Morning. That's going to be next week. Next week we're doing the second song on the record. That's a really fun swinging up-tempo blues number called Sunday Morning. That's also a crowd favorite, and I was actually kind of torn as to whether or not to put that one first or this one first, but the crowd seems to like this one first more. So here's the original song. Here's the notes. Here's the notes. What I do is I'll write a whole bunch of notes on this. Well, usually I write the notes on the right side because I'm left-handed, so I'll write the finished version on the left side. In this case, I wrote the notes on this side and a lot of scratching out. Here you can see there's a lot of ideas that got scratched and ditched. It's funny because sometimes the lyrics will come and flow and there'll be almost nothing on this page. They'll almost flow in such a way that the whole thing just flows right onto the finished version, but other times they'll be like, oh, this is not working, this is not working, this is not working. There'll be dozens of rhymes over here that are not working. It's funny, I like to rhyme the songs still. A lot of people don't bother with rhyming the songs, but I still try to rhyme, and I find that it's fun to be creative with the rhyming scheme, like rhyming the first and third, second and fourth, or the first and the fourth, or the second and the third, or doing different things like that, trying to twist things around to fit the music. But the key is that once you compose a piece of music, that the really key to writing it as a good song is to find the emotion and the feeling that's in that particular piece of music and find a good story to tell that fits that mood and that feeling, and that's usually what makes a good song. This is funny there. This one, there's not that many scratch outs. So this first verse says, when the cold winds cross paths and the plum clouds amass, in that particular day was a very bright purple sunset. I'm going down to the river. And I hadn't done a lot of camping at the time. I was fairly young, and when I came to Hollywood, I was just doing music all the time. That was one of the things that I absolutely loved about Los Angeles, is that when I came here, there was music 7 nights a week. I mean, from Wednesday through Sunday, you could pick between at least 10 to 15 clubs that had live music all night, every single week. And it was astounding to me that there could be that much music being played anywhere. And so I spent most of my time in the city. I was moving furniture and I was working in print shops. And I spent most of the time in the city for a good 5 years before I finally got out and started camping. And this was one of the early camping trips. And so I was just impressed by how fresh everything was out in the canyons and how quiet it was. The second line here says, the gods are gratified when the drops fall from the sky. It's almost as if the gods are saying, send that rain on those sinners. And then they stand back and they go, okay, that's enough of the rain. We're done. And the drops from the sky fall to the river. Seeking its path, I'm hiking down, finding it. I revel in its wrath. You know, the rivers can be life-saving and deliver water, but they can also be very tragic in their power in some cases, like in the case of 2021 when I went up to visit the Adams Pack station where we used to do music, and they had a beautiful canyon full of ferns and little tide pools and all kind of different things, and after that big storm, it was all gone. The whole canyon was wiped out. Giant trees were just like all the way down at the bottom. So I revel in its wrath down in the river where 7 streams lie in wait to purify. Now this is a fascinating part of the water, the circle of water, where it condenses up into the clouds and then it falls as rain, and it follows the path of least resistance, I suppose, and it goes into the puddles, into the tributaries, down into the rivers, and then all the way back, eventually back to the ocean. And it's purifying itself along the way, as well as other things. In most places, anyway. And then the chorus says, in the river you can forget where you've been. So, in those quiet canyons and things, you can basically completely forget. If you give yourself enough time, you can out there, and you don't have a phone or a radio, you can give yourself the time to really come to peace with yourself, and you feel purified. It says, the chorus is, in the river you can forget where you've been. The water will bear the weight of your sins. And that's if you're swimming in the river, it almost feels like when you come out, the dirt or the filth and whatever you've been doing in the city is washed away. If you've been down once, you'll go back again when you're feeling bound, or you've run aground, which is a very lucky rhyme. I'm going to get you down to the water in the ground. So that's the chorus. The second verse says, here, I'll show you the lyrics. That's the finished version of the lyrics. If you freeze frame. The second verse says, the thoughts that terrify are reflected in my eyes, looking down in the river. And I like that line a lot, because I feel like there's so many feelings that you have going through life, particularly when you start getting older. There's fear for your health, and fear for people around you, and fear for bad things happening, especially if you're really living your life and enjoying your life. And when you look down in the river and you see the ripply water, seems like you can see emotions reflected in your eyes. So, thoughts that terrify are reflected in my eyes, looking down in the river. Though I stand tall and brave, you put up a brave face. For the most part, you put up a brave face for everybody. My fervent heart gives way down in the river. So, fervent is a fun word that you don't hear very often in a song, but it felt right at that point. Fervent is a word that means showing warmth or strong emotion. And if your heart is, then it's going to feel it in the river. The city's crucified. The city is crucified. I like that. As my body liquefies down in the river. And then as the ground, back to the circle of life, as the ground breaks away, the cliffs eventually, all of these mountains will wash away. And as the ground breaks away, the rocks just roll and play. Now this goes back to the destruction of the river. The rocks, sometimes large rocks falling and rolling, but it's interesting. It's almost like nature playing when it sends the rocks just crashing down into the river, in the river. Now the last, and then we go into a solo section after the chorus, and the last verse says, when life turns dark and gray, my vices betray. Meaning that if you are living in the city, eventually, if you're doing things you shouldn't be doing, or generally unhealthy things, eventually these vices will betray you, because you will get either bored with them or they just won't work anymore. From the depths of dismay, and then you end up in a bad place. From the depths of dismay, I know my soul is saved down in the river. So this is going to be a really fun song to record, because it just lends itself to recording. There's a huge B3 keyboard part and probably a piano that's going to be supporting the rhythm. And there's a really neat bass part when I go. Ted Russell Camp, our favorite bass player, when we play it live, sounds like John Paul Jones. And we usually put a bass solo in between the first chorus and the second verse, which is really strange, but really neat the way it sounds. And then there's a section at the end. I'm not sure if I'm going to include it or not. I originally stuck it in there because I was really on a Wild Zeppelin bend where Jimmy Page used to do those kind of flat picking things that he would do. And when it comes to the end, then I would come back in with the... and put that flat picking part in, and then it would go right back to the chorus. So I'm not sure if that should be in there or not. It's going to make the... You'll have to chime in on the comments, and I'm going to play it right now with the finger picking bridge, and you'll have flat picking bridge, and you'll have to see if you like it or not. And definitely chip in and let's get going on these recordings. There is a fundraiser in the text below, and this is going to be, I think, if we raise some money after the first 4 songs or 6 songs, we can actually get the recordings going. And so this will be your chance to be executive producer. And then that's going to be the first song on the record. I'm not sure about backup vocals. There's probably going to be some percussion in there, and there's going to be some great drums. I mean, this is a chance for the drummer to do their best imitation of John Bonham, right? All right, so let's play it on... thank you for tuning in, and subscribe to the channel, please. This show, unfortunately, was not live like I had planned because of YouTube's strange rules. We are trying really hard to get on live, and I'm hoping by next week we can do it. We just need more subscribers, so please share this video and spread it around, and let's continue bringing great music to the people. This is The Weight of Your Sin, track number 1. Ground. your sin. You've been down once, so go back again. Oh, when you're feeling down, oh, you run aground, and I'm gonna get you down, down to the water in the ground. Dark and gray, my vices all betray. I'm on down in that river. From the depths of dismay, I know my soul is safe down in that river. Alright, that's The Weight of Your Sin. Thank you all so much for tuning in. I will see you next Wednesday with song number 2, Sunday Morn. And please spread this around and get the likes and tell people to subscribe. And I thank you very much. I look so much forward to checking out these comments and seeing what you guys think and putting some money together and getting these recordings going. So please check the text below for the link to the fundraiser, and it'll be open for, I'm not sure how long, it's going to be 6 weeks or so, and we'll try to get these songs done. I am Terry Okey with Songs and Stories, episode number 1. I thank you so much. I wish you peace and great music.